Hey there, welcome back to another commentary video for my Red Dead Redemption 2 Pacifist series. This one is for my second video on Enter Pursuit by Memory, so the mission where you rescue John from the wolves. And I will just start playing here right away because in this one I decided to keep in the whole video leading up to the only fight or the two fights, I guess, of the mission. I decided to keep this in the video because I actually did that first try on that specific day. I did do a lot of tries before that, and I will tell you a little bit about that in this video. But on that particular day, I actually did it first try, which is why I was still going in from the first checkpoint here and recorded the whole thing. So obviously we are riding up here with Javier, going to find John, and nothing really interesting here happens that we need to worry about in terms of kills or knockouts. So I can just tell you a few of the interesting things maybe that happened here. So obviously the main threat in this mission will be the wolves. There will be two sections to them. First when they attack us while we're still on foot, and then later while we are riding away from them on the horses. And I was first trying a lot of trying to see if I can just bypass the wolf spawning at all. So I was basically trying to look into sequence breaking the thing in some way so that maybe I can carry John in some way, the wolves don't spawn, maybe trigger some later, get into some place where there's some trigger that skips something. But I think this is where I first realized, even though I also saw this during the first mission, that Red Dead Redemption 2 is extremely hard to sequence break, at least in my experience so far, because you always have a next objective, and usually the objective after the current one is not active in any way until you complete the current one. And so I was unsuccessful with this. So, for example, you can see that if you look on the minimap right now, we're actually crossing the border of the map. So we're right now outside of where you're usually allowed to go in normal gameplay. And this section of the map actually gets crossed, gets made inaccessible during later parts of the game. There's an avalanche, and then you can't actually get to where we are right now, me and Javier. And so I was thinking if I can use that in some way. So I was trying to see how far I can ride away from Javier before the mission fails. And I was trying to basically snoop around out of bounds a little bit and see if somehow that could help me. Like maybe if I was trying to find out if there's some equivalent of voiding out in like a Zelda game, like getting far away in some way so that the game spawns you somewhere else or something along those lines. But I was unsuccessful. Actually, I will pause it here. So I didn't realize this for a long time. Actually, let me go back a little bit here so we can get our bearings. I didn't realize this for a long while, but actually this part right here is where we will be riding past later on in this mission. So I know you can see my cursor. Yeah, so we will be coming down later in the mission. We will be riding down from the right here and coming down here. And the wolves will come from this part up here and start following us, and we will all ride down this area here. So this took me a while to actually realize that we will pass through this area again later on with the wolves following us, or the wolves will start following us from here. And so I was also messing around, trying to get back there to see if I can somehow trigger the wolves early. Maybe they will then get into some broken AI state or something else that could be helpful. But either way, I could not actually get over there without the mission failing because I abandoned Javier, and you know how it is. So I couldn't actually get too far over there. But even so, I would assume the wolves aren't there yet, and it wouldn't actually do anything. So I'm looking over there, kind of. So this way over there is where we'll be coming from later on. But again, I could not figure out any way to actually use that information. But as you will see, I didn't need to. I figured out a way to deal with the wolves another way. Even though I will already start making excuses here. So If you saw the uncommented video, you already know that at the very least the second wave of wolves are kind of defeated in a sus way, because I do. Well, I guess I shouldn't talk too much ahead, but I do kind of ride into them with the horse in order to deal with them, and they do fall over and stop moving. But well, you we will when we get to it, I will tell you why, in fact, I haven't broken the rules, and what my excuses are. So it takes a little while more until we are going to John. I'm thinking of if I should skip ahead or if there's anything else to talk about. So in my attempt to somehow break the game in a way that was useful, I was messing around a bunch here. I was riding up and down all of these mountains, trying to see if that somehow helped me. I was getting off the horse, getting on the horse, figuring out exactly when the point is when you can't get onto the horse anymore. Because in fact, when you reach the face of the face over there of the wall, I guess, of in front of you there, and the game suggests that you get off, or it might even force you off. I don't remember. You can't actually get onto the horse anymore. But if you get off the horse at a place where you can jump onto it, you can still get onto it later on. But that has not provided any use to me, so sadly. At this point, I'm not in this specific video you're watching. I'm not doing any crazy attempts of breaking the game in any way, because I've already figured out how I can deal with the wolves, and I'm just trying to get there as fast as possible. I've also tried to mess with Javier a bunch, knocking him while I'm still on the horse and he's already on foot, trying to knock him down the mountain, see if that somehow helps me. But first of all, no, it doesn't, because he just dies and the mission fails. But also, wouldn't be really in the spirit of the pacifist challenge. So, in any case, but in the early exploration phase, I usually try to mess around even with things that would not be inside of the rules, just to see if I can turn something interesting up. So another thing I discovered, I just want to put this out there in case it's useful to anyone else, is you can see at the bottom left here is this ledge, and you will see in a second we are supposed to crawl below it, obviously. But it always seemed to me like there should be some way of getting there. And I just wanted to be known that I actually did manage to get there once. I don't know if this is useful in any way. I haven't been able to get anywhere useful from there. But it is possible to get there by walking along the wall there and just kind of spamming spacebar or whatever your jump button is. And if you are sprinting maybe, or I don't remember what the setup was. If you're walking in the correct direction and angle and everything, it's pretty finicky. I haven't been able to replicate it at all. Arthur will jump and grab onto this ledge and then be over there, and from there you can explore some other areas, and you will kind of just walk one level above Javier. Actually, I think I tried it there to jump and it didn't work out this time, but I didn't try too hard because again I was trying to get to the wolves. So we would then be up there to the right, somewhere over there, and as I say, I don't think it really does anything helpful, because we were going to get there in any case. But yeah, I just wanted to put it out there that that's a thing, and might be of use to someone. So another thing I tried to do in order to attempt some sort... Again, I was just trying to break the game in some interesting way that might have been useful. And that was, you can see that I was just standing around here while Javier was climbing, and that's not by choice. I was probably spamming the spacebar, but the game actually prevents you from climbing before Javier. And the reason for that is most likely so that he reaches this gap here before you, so that he can toss you the alcohol. Because I was thinking if it could be useful in some way to maybe cross this gap here before him, and again try to somehow break the game. But I don't think it's possible, because again Javier is... you're not allowed to climb the thing until Javier does, and in any case, usually the game prevents you from walking in front of important NPCs, and will just slow you down, or as you can see here, block me or whatever. So Even if I managed to sneak past him, I don't think it would have done anything anyway. I was pretty desperate at that point. Just figure out some way to break the game and maybe skip the wolves. So now we're pretty close to John. And here I'm trying to get to him pretty fast. You can see I'm trying to take the most direct way possible, but you can see the game is slowing me down a lot. You can see now that Javier has overtaken me, I can suddenly walk a little bit faster. So this is what happens usually, right? Here's another interesting one. Arthur will now take Arthur on his... Well, no, that's not it. Arthur will take John on his shoulder, and you have to carry him up a little bit. And this is a little bit weird because according to the controls at the bottom, you can see that all keys, all WSD keys should be able to be pressed. But in my experience, you can at first kind of control Arthur as you want. You can turn around, you can go left and right and whatever. But at some point, the game gets tired of you messing around, and no matter what button you press, it will cause you to walk towards Javier. But you already know that I tried to walk off the cliff or otherwise walk into some space that I wasn't supposed to. But again, didn't work out, so I move on immediately and follow Javier here because it didn't actually do me any good to walk in circles or try to walk off the cliff. It didn't work out, walking off the cliff. Arthur would stop at the edge. So, finally, we have arrived at our first wolf attack, and this is one that's somewhat interesting at least, and I'm pretty sure, and here I have to shout out Azazel once again with his Good Spore in the West series. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm fairly sure he solved it in the same way as me, and before me also, I must say, but I'm fairly sure I came up with this independently of him. What I'm doing is getting the wolves' attention. It's enough to call at them once. You don't have to look at them. You don't have to do anything else. If you call them once, they're coming at you. But I think just from boredom, I'm just calling them again, or maybe multiple times even. But it is actually enough to just call them a single time. So initially, just pausing here. Initially, I was attempting to kind of mess with the wolves up here, or in these rocks, because I know that if enemies or NPCs generally fall into a place in a weird position where they can't get up anymore, the game will kind of mercy kill them. And I was trying to find a way of them kind of glitching in between rocks or in something so that they would die by that and not being Arthur's fault, so to speak. But that gave me. But by that, I discovered how if a wolf charges Arthur, I can continue playing here. If a wolf charges Arthur importantly, he charges them from the side, then he will bite Arthur's arm, and Arthur will do a 180-degree turn and throw the wolf to the other side. So you can see this immediately here that I want to angle myself in such a way that my arm is facing towards the wolves, and my other side is facing towards the cliff. And also, I don't want to be too close because, okay, let's wait so you can see what's happening. Maybe it doesn't actually work on the first try. Okay, there you go. It does work on the first try. So you can see this little pupper jumped at me and bit my arm, and Arthur does this animation where he throws him to the side. And as you're probably expecting, he falls off the edge. So in terms of this being pacifist or no, I don't know. In my opinion, I didn't even do any inputs during this sequence. I was just standing there. I was just setting myself up in a specific direction and whatever, and then the whole thing played out by itself. So I would say that this qualifies by my rules. Also, one more thing I want to note here is the distance I'm standing from the cliff. It's not super precise, but you do have to be careful to not stand too close to the cliff, otherwise you will go down with the wolf. So this was pretty optimal distance there, I would say. Okay, so as you can see, it doesn't always attack the arm. Here, the wolf attacked my leg, and that didn't really help me at all. So now I have to quickly reposition to try and get it so that the wolf actually falls down. So here it looks like it falls down, but it doesn't. Oh, apparently off screen, the third wolf jumped off the edge on their own. That also happens sometimes. There are 3 wolves in this sequence, and now there's only 1 left. So one of them must have decided to hop off on their own. So you don't have unlimited tries here, because you do take damage from the wolf, obviously. And I think I'm like 1 attack left here before I die, so I do eat something quickly. But I think this might be, yep, there he goes. And you can also see that I almost fell off as well. So there you can see how the positioning is a little bit finicky, and many a run ended right here with Arthur following down the wolves to the ground. So now comes the I don't know, the part that, well, here comes the part where I accidentally drink the alcohol that damages you instead of healing you. So that was a little bit of a mistake. Didn't carefully watch out there. Okay, before we go on to the next pack of wolves, I just want to also point out that you can actually, after you get on your horse, ride up this area and kind of have a lot of area up there you can explore while still being close enough to Javier that the mission does not fail. As you can imagine, I was messing about a lot with this and going up and down there, again, trying to somehow break the game in some useful way. But it was not to be. And so we get on the horse here and move on. In a similar way, I was also, you can see we have this ravine on the left here, where the wolves just dropped down, but also a little bit further, it is actually possible to cross the ravine. And I did, obviously, yeah, there it is. And I did also do that, trying to kind of loop around the area, thinking that maybe if Arthur just doesn't cross this specific path, maybe the wolves won't spawn. But clearly the wolves are actually attached to Javier's location. And since Javier always will ride this place, the wolves always appear. So right about here is where they appear. You can now maybe you will recognize the area from before. We have this grass on the floor. So previously we came some from the left there, and so here come the wolves. So we have 2 wolves here at the start, and 2 to 3 wolves more that appear, I think. So okay. Here I need to explain how this works, even though I don't fully understand it myself, and this will be potentially debatable if this even counts as pacifist. So by my own rules, count an enemy as knocked out or dead or whatever if by some action that Arthur takes, the enemy becomes X on the map, right? Now, this is obviously not completely correct, because if you hogtie an enemy, they also become an X, and I would not consider that a knockout. Even so, for this mission, let's assume that a marker on the map means that the enemy has been killed. And obviously, enemies don't become X's, they become less little paw prints. And so if you shoot the wolves, they will become paw prints. If you ride over the wolves, they become paw prints. And so I've considered this being killed by Arthur. However, and you will see this here, if you ride, and I don't know how to say this, but carefully, meaning right now I'm probably not pressing any buttons. I'm still being carried by the momentum of my previous inputs, but at this very moment where the wolf is beginning to touch the horse, I'm not pressing any buttons, and this is what I mean by riding carefully. It's not like, I don't know. If I had analog inputs on my keyboard, I would only just barely be moving the stick forward right here. That's what I mean by I guess you could call it riding lightly or something. And for some reason, when that happens, there you go. You can see the wolf falls over. So first of all, we didn't get the white flash, which you get when you kill or knock out an enemy. I believe it's also the case when you do that for wolves. I did not get that. The wolf just kind of starts doing the equivalent of a T-pose for animals and ragdolls, right? So, sorry for these artifacts. The video player does that sometimes. So if you keep your eyes on the map here, it does take a second or two for the markers to appear, even if you do kill them for real. But you will see that no markers appear. So again, I'm not 100% sure what is going on here. And you can imagine that I discovered this just by accident. But yeah, if you just kind of weirdly hug the side here of Javier and wait until the wolf just kind of runs into you, they will just kind of fall over without truly dying in a weird way. I don't know in what state the game considers them to be then, but yeah. A few notes on this. First, I have found that it usually works better if you make it so that the head of the wolf touches your horse. I've also found that it's good that when the head of the wolf touches the side of your horse and not its front, not its back, and so on. As I said already, I found that the wolf. This whole thing only works if you, while the wolf is touching the horse, you don't press any buttons. And even you don't sprint this whole time. You just ride slowly, and as soon as you think the wolf's about to touch you, you just don't press anything and just kind of let it happen, I guess. And you just try to ride at the side of Javier where you think the next wolf will approach, which is, as you can see here, I'm trying to get on the other side of Javier here, speeding up, so I'm next to him, and now I'm again pressing nothing and wait for the wolf to kind of ride into me. So, okay, you probably heard the wolf make the "oh, I'm dead" sound right there. So that was the "okay, I've been killed" sound, and so that's why I think like, again, they must be dead in some form, but they are not truly, because as you can't see them on the map. What I have done is I've gotten off the horse and pointed a gun at them, and I have not gotten the red dot, meaning. That would also imply that they are dead. And I have also shot the corpse of the wolf, and they have not. I could not kill them a second time, implying again that they are already dead at this point. So depending on how strict you see this, I would also agree on the viewpoint that I have killed these wolves, and that this is not in fact a pacifist. Is not in fact a pacifist run of this mission. I would say that the first. Let's continue. Nothing else happens. So I would agree probably that I would, or rather I would say that the first set of wolves that I threw into the ravine, or rather that tragically fell into the ravine on their own choice, that these do satisfy the pacifist rule, but for these ones right here, I'm sure a lot of people would say that, in fact, I have killed them. So this mission is not 100% solved, is what I'm saying. So there's probably there must be some way, somehow, to get these wolves to either not spawn or spawn in some way that maybe they run into a wall until they just fall over or are off screen or something like this. As I know this game, there's probably not a way to stop them from spawning, but there's probably a way to kind of get them glitched in some way that the game just kind of mercy kills them, because the game knows that the wolves can't actually follow Javier. On that, I would also mention that sometimes more wolves spawn. We have had just 3 in this second set of wolves, but sometimes more spawn. And if you reach the bottom of the hill with one of these extra wolves still being alive, they will just run away. So I think it's necessary to kill or otherwise incapacitate 2 or 3 wolves on the way down, and any additional wolves that spawn will run off when you reach the bottom. Whereas if any of the, I guess, important wolves or core wolves or whatever are still alive, even if they are far away from Arthur and Javier, they will just fall over and die, basically, for no reason. Even if the wolves are far away. So you need to remove these important wolves, I guess. So if there's some way to kind of get them stuck somewhere, I don't know if that would actually solve the problem, because even if they're stuck at the start of the top of the hill and then you run down, there's a good chance that the game would still say, "Oh, they're alive. Okay, John and Javier die too." Even though the wolf is still at the top of the hill. So I would assume you would somehow have to get them maybe to run into a tree or off a cliff or something, so that they die and the game actually knows that they are dead. Okay, nothing else happens here. We can just let this cutscene play out, or if there, I think cutscene happens here. Yeah. But yeah, that's the end of that mission. So again, not 100% not 100% sure on that one. But maybe it can be this can be a resource for other people to maybe figure out a way to actually 100% peacefully solve this mission. Well, so hope you enjoyed this. Good luck with that, and thanks for watching.